Hey guys, Dan here with Sterling Self Defense coming at you with another video, Tech Talk. All right, I know I got a lot of videos, and some guys are finding it hard to find the videos that are relative to their needs. So I'm going back over an old one. All right, so my original mods for the extension air chambers that give you all the extra power. This is the standard, this is the XL. Standard with it installed with Loctite, no seam there. Standard installed with Loctite, no seam there. Now, when I first came out with these, I gave everyone an option either to use Loctite or use the O-ring that your air chamber originally comes with that sits on the air chamber cap. So in that case, well, a lot of guys use those on the original. You just put your O-ring on just like so. But when you use an O-ring, what it does is it makes it longer. Because when the O-ring's in there, you're going to have, like a 60 thou gap right in between here. So your bolt has to sit in an exact position for it to work properly. So on the older ones, they used to be allowed to either use an O-ring or Loctite. But if you have an older one and you use Loctite, what you have to do is, you see that there's no seam in here. Oh, let me use a regular one. See, there's no seam in here. Now, if you use the O-ring on there, there's going to be a 60 thou seam in here, which is going to make it longer. So I adapted for that, and that was fine. But if you use Loctite, there is no seam. So if you use Loctite, when you have your cap, well, here's the cap. What you do is you take your old O-ring, you drop it in the body cap. That makes up for that 60 thou difference, and, it installs just like that into the back of your gun. Let me grab an FSC upper so you can visualize what I'm talking about. There's Badger. Say hi, Badger. All right, so you're going to install your bolt's going to be on there. Put that in, leave it forward a little bit. Always remember to push your bolt forward before you put your regulator back on. So for the older ones, since this one is Loctite, you just drop your O-ring in there, or you can make a 60 thou shim, or use, if you have calipers, measure a metal washer that's 60 thou. But you can just use this. Metal washer would be the better way to go because it doesn't give. But just put it on there like that, push it down, put your screws in. But now, all the new ones today, I got rid of the option to use the O-ring. This way it doesn't make any confusion, because some guys got confused on how the O-ring goes in, this and that. So now all of my new ones are made longer to make up for that difference in gap. But all the new ones, you can't use the O-rings anymore. You got a Loctite. And I'm actually now, let me show you guys, with all my kits that go out, I'm sending Loctite out with them. So a single kind of use, you get more than one use out of it, but every kit's going to come with Loctite for the guys in the UK and stuff that apparently have a problem getting Loctite. Every kit's now going to come with one, but all the new ones for the past, I think I made that video like 6 months ago. For the past 6 months, you can't use an O-ring. It's got to be Loctited. And when you install them, put the Loctite on, make sure you screw it all the way in. And there's no seam left. Put your wrench on both sides, cinch it up. The Loctite's going to push out here, clean it up, don't get it on your O-rings, and you're good to go. But for guys that have the older caps, I guess some guys are wanting to switch over to Loctite because they got leaking O-rings or whatever. If you have the older ones where you were using an O-ring, now you have to take that O-ring off and either put it in the back of the cap or get a washer, like a metal washer, measure it, like I'll show you. There we go. I'm gonna measure this. Put a little pressure on it. 60 thou is good. 50 you can get away with. That's really pushing on squeezing it. So between 50 and 60 thou. That's with tension on it, because all the way out it measures 67. But with pressure on, is it's going to shrink it down a bit. That's why it's always better if you can find a washer, a steel washer. 60 thou is perfect. Just put it right in the back, and you're good to go. But that's just for the older ones. The newer ones, you don't have to do that. All the new caps are longer than the old caps. But they are Loctite only, but they will be coming with Loctite. All right, so yeah, a couple guys in the UK that apparently had a problem with this. Now, if you don't do this, what's going to happen is, let me find a regulator. Here we go. Here's a regulator. What happens is your bolt's going to sit in the wrong position. Let me get a bolt head. There we go. Now, your bolt has to sit in the exact same position, down to like 1,000th of an inch. It's really tight. But if it sits too far back, this is your release right here. I make the steel releases that don't break like the stock ones. But your bolt sits right here. See it against there, and that's holding it in place. That's where it has to sit. Now, if you don't use the O-ring on the older ones, it's going to want to sit back farther. And what's happening is it's going to start wearing the top of that release because it wants to sit back farther when it's not supposed to. It's supposed to sit right there, and that's it. But if your caps, when they come back farther, every time you shoot, it's going to come back, and it's going to wear off the top of this release. Even the steel ones. The stock ones, it'll just shatter it to nothing. But the steel ones, if it's out of position and back too far, it's just going to wear the tip of this release right off. So if you got an older one and you want to switch from the O-ring that you had to Loctite to have a better seal, remember, you got to make up for that 60 thou. So you're pushing the bolt forward into the right position. Right there is where it's got to be. So, all right, that's it for me. Message me if you have any questions. That's it. And yeah, sorry, I don't put great titles on some of my videos, so it makes them harder to find. I got like 400 videos. I have a harder time finding them as you do. So, sorry about that. In the future, I'll try to label them a little better so they're easier to find. All right, guys, that's it for me and Badger. Say bye, Badger. Bye, Badger. All right, see you guys in the next one. Stay safe.